And we are live. Hello, everyone. How is everyone doing? Just maybe Sheena and Alex, if you can intro yourself, just because I need the next 10 seconds to post live on X, because apparently Elon is not very appreciative of live streams. So I think I've seen multiple posts on my feed where people just weren't able to connect, right? And so we're just going to have to take care of it manually. Just give me 1 second. So yeah, maybe Sheena, Alex, you can just set the tone about what's going to happen, then I'll take it from there for sure.
I'm apparently very happy today. I mean, though I might be exhausted, we've been having like back to back sessions glued to the screens, but then there is an ultimate satisfaction today. So I think I'm naturally getting that whole zeal for, interacting today on this live stream. What about you, Alex?
Yeah, definitely very happy. I think I share the exhaustion. I think it's been like 100 miles an hour since we launched CreateOS for sure. But today it feels like a big milestone, yet another has been achieved. So I am absolutely delighted that we're sharing this time with our community and with each other as well.
So yeah, I mean, randomly getting people that they just read. In fact, a while back, one of my friends, he reads. He's a very avid reader of news and all. And he's like, "Hey, isn't this you guys?" And I'm like, "Yes, it is us." So yes, we are going to speak during this live streaming about all that we have done. But yeah, just to create that curiosity, yes, we did it.
Yes. And I think it's very apt that we are together on camera with video streaming, like nudge, nudge, just so that, we can get into the right vibes of what we're going to discuss today about what is actually the power of being seen and being able to share and be present using digital means and the power that can come at very different and new levels thanks to AI when it comes to the digital means that now are becoming more and more prevalent.
Yeah, yeah. So I have
Erica,
like
how are
so
we
much
doing?
to talk. Yeah, we'll try to at least let everyone know what has happened. And then
Yeah,
yeah.
no, we're live. We're live. We're able to do it. So apparently, you the profile that you link it to is able to get the signal, right? But then it just doesn't show on your feed, so people are not able to essentially tune in, which sort of defeats the whole purpose. But now by reposting it, then by posting it, then it works. So anyone out there who's having any issues, that's a step right there for you. Um, it's been a week now since we've been live, and manic times. Everyone has been working around the clock, and maybe we can start by doing some what can I say reflections, right, on how you think the launch has gone, satisfied on some fronts, challenges, and I think this would be pretty important information for our community and just listeners out there, because they just see CreateOS as just something that is ushered into the world, and then they just go about their life as every other day, as it should be. But there's a lot of work that goes every single push, communication, product update, new feature, discussions. So yeah, I'll take it up afterwards. But maybe Alex, if you want to start.
Yeah, sure. It's been, yeah, reckless speed for sure. Every time that there is a new product, it's a lot of new people that are coming through the door. That's the first and most happy, I think, outcome of the technology. We have seen our community grow considerably and also open up to new people. As it comes with CreateOS, we are really opening up the creative potential of anyone who wants to try and vibe code their way into new solutions, new ideas, new business opportunities for themselves, for their communities, for their networks, for society, more broadly. And that's the bookmark this because it would be actually the theme of today's conversation. But during this week, I've seen a lot of new faces, new voices, tons of feedback. We got good take up post product hunt launch. You would have seen we have ranked number one. We're really, really delighted to have been this level of recognition from our community. And since then, we've tried, of course, to already deploy new stuff, improve features, make the platform stable as the volume of users has gone up, like quite considerably. everyday scenes. Sheen, I don't know what are your highlights for sure. It's been like very intense for everybody in the team.
Yes, I think, and always it's, I think, the whole team that puts together a show. And be it coming from product hunt launch that we had last week, I mean, all of us sitting answering those queries, very overwhelming, because I think more, the better the question, the better the answer, right? So it was quite exciting for us. And I'm like, yesterday also I was looking at all the posts, people trying to reach out on DMs, and when they're able to differentiate that this is not just another AI tool, but this has much more power beyond that. So it gives you immense pleasure, because what you envisage and what you're offering, that is something same communicated to the larger audience out there. And yeah, of course, being vocal about it, I am absolutely a no AI related knowledge or anything. I don't know about coding, but then that whole magic happens on my screen because I have given it some prompts and I'm able to share that with folks around. It's a different feeling altogether. And very proudly, I've been trying to make education videos, which just shows that how simplified the whole process is and the single clicks that are available to actually complete the whole cycle. It's not just about building, but you need to close the loop, right? And that's when you're able to do into a single unified workspace. Amazing. And of course, we will be touching upon something very exciting. So yeah, I'm just waiting to start that conversation.
Yeah, next up, but um, it's been an exciting week. I would say it's gone well on most fronts. The feat of number one is, I think, something to. We spoke about this on the one we did on Monday, on Tuesday. Alex, that right? I'm touching on it, that it's important to also celebrate the victories, right, and recognize the hard work before you move on. I think it's we're not very good at it, in the sense that we're always sort of looking at the next step, and also that's sort of the key to the success that the team has had so far, which is always like head down, foot on the gas. Yeah, always look. But I think it's also important sometimes to take a step back and understand. Okay, like 2 weeks ago, how did we define successful launch week? And number one on product hunt was one of them. So the fact that we were able to collectively achieve it, because also that's the most important aspect about this feat, is that it was a group effort, it was a collective effort, and it wasn't just, I don't know, us three answering questions or whatever, because also it wouldn't have been feasible, right? It felt like almost like a what can I say? How do you say it? Because I know the term in Italian, where you do like overnight coverage for like military operations, where someone has to stay up for like 3 hours and the next one is up. And then we're lucky that we have a global team that were well distributed, so we were able to yeah, just have someone in place to guard the the feed, right? And so I think that's important. I think next challenge will be, at least from my perspective, is that a good challenge to have, that the product is so powerful that you're able to do a lot of stuff there, right? So that presents also I think opportunities, a lot of opportunities, right? Because builders can come for different reasons, whether that be creating, deploying, if they already have something. CreateOS is a place for them, because we're able to accommodate for builders in a way of sorry, through a plethora of different features. So that will be, I think, the main challenge from our perspective in the next few weeks, to communicate effectively what we do without diluting. So you can keep an eye out on our work, and of course, if you have any feedback, let us know. That said, we're here to address the elephant in the room, right? Which is something that's been in the works for weeks prior to CreateOS actually becoming something that you're all aware of. And we're talking about our pilot in the Indian textile industry, and our on the ground presence in factories in India. And you'd be able to speak a little more about it, but I think maybe we can shed some light by painting the picture, right? So some context about what was the ask and how CreateOS came in to solve their problems.
Oh yeah, sure. Would definitely love to answer. So let's try to make the entire community listening out there get a complete imagination while I talk. So I'll try to narrate it like a story. So of course, India is having like it's a manufacturing sector, so we have all the three kind of industries, be it primary, secondary, as well as tertiary. So coming now to the manufacturing sector, India has a huge supply of textile, especially cotton. We are great producers of that, and there are like several factories across the entire country. So yes, our co-founder does has a very small background in terms of family with the textile industry, so he understands the way the factory runs. It's a whole process. It's a very well defined process, and it has to go in the right fashion. So people who are listening out there who are from the cotton textile industry would understand that the process is pretty much streamlined. It's a very mechanical process. Now what happens in factories is, typically you would need a continuous surveillance on that. And imagine that you would have to have your staff or the factory owners, because what happens is there are small factory units which are supplying to, say, government authorities, and there is a whole connection that is built about who's going to supply to what would be the price, what would be the process. So this is something which requires like a continuous monitoring. And if there is any kind of a lag, or say if, for example, just very randomly, suppose there's a difference in the price, or somebody is trying to purchase it something from outside, it's very difficult to have a tap also on that, because there are numerous number of factories. And then recently, about 3 4 months back, there were some government guidelines as well, that it is important that those CCTV cameras are installed everywhere. Some of them are non-functional, and even if they are functional, there are challenges about the cloud storage. And then of course the data is going to be stored on some hardware devices, right? Could be CDs, could be some pen drives. You would have to install some kind of hardware storage. So it's quite cumbersome, something which is not possible to avoid completely, but at the same time it is very essential for a proper accountability, compliance purposes, as well as safety measures. So we try to go through, under, like, of course, because like I said, Naman was, he's grown up in a family and has seen that entire environment himself. He could envision that if we are able to ease out this whole process for the factory owners, things are going to look very different. And when we were also trying to get into this whole AI intelligent workspace, we thought that this is like something really usable if we go out in the real world. There is an application not just restricted to a builder sitting trying to wipe code, build, and ship, but the use case is much, much larger than that. And having said that, the factory owners out there, they would have a mobile device, they would have access to the cameras, but they are not coders. They don't know how to do coding, right? So they are simple people like you and me, who, if you tell them what is to be done, they're ready to do it, but they don't know how to do it, right? So what we did was, as a pilot study before the launch of CreateOS, something about 75 days before CreateOS went live on 4th of February, we did pilot run across couple of factories in few states of India. So it was Maharashtra, Telangana, Gujarat. And what we did was, their existing camera setups that were there, we provided them the requisite software in very simple terms, just to be able to capture their surveillance data on a cloud. So that is what we essentially did. And so basically, what we did was we brought in together the entire data on a unified workspace for storing the video.
Right.
This has started off, this is just the beginning, but this is not where we stop. There is an AI angle attached to it, which actually aids in the entire business operationability and efficiency. So it's eventually what is going to happen is it's going to be converted into real-time dashboards, where as a factory owner, if I am there, I will get real-time updates in case there's a theft, in case there's a fire, in case there is any process which has come to an halt, in case a machine is default. So real time updates would be given in terms of alert. So if I have to check on a particular day or a particular camera, you literally don't have to go and browse through the CDs or any like abundance of data. You can just go select that camera in real time, select the time that you are looking for, and you do it. So we created login ID passwords on the platform. As a factory owner, you can log in there. You all your, suppose you have 8 cameras, you can have blocks created for every camera. You can go click, get real time data, and eventually also be getting alerts for a better business operations in the MSME sector.
Yeah, and so I think long story short, we've through CreateOS, right? These factories, right, and folks within these factories, personnel, staff, however you want to call it, have gone from sort of like a passive management to like an active management, right? So instead of being responsive, they're able to prevent or at least be updated and notified in real time and take the necessary precautions to avoid damage. Which we're talking about, like quite expensive machinery, right? There will be an interesting video coming out after this the stream that will show in detail the kind of machinery we're talking about here. So I think preventing any kind of damage or harm that can be done at any step of the way is very important. And through CreateOS in this instance, which is through the right tooling, allowing these operatives to have the ability to prevent that, I think is very, very important. And I think something that everyone out there can relate to, because this is just one pilot, right? A very important one, of course, because it shows the IRL, like in real life, application and use and adoption and utility, I think is the right term, of CreateOS. But it can be, of course, applied to anyone out there who might need timely updates and the possibility to check in real time on whatever is going on and whatever their field of expertise is. And the way they were able to do that is through like a pretty easy and interactive dashboard. Of course, it was entirely at their discretion how they wanted it to be set up. If they wanted to prioritize certain metrics, the team was able to accommodate accordingly. So these are all solutions that can be tweaked and customized and tailored accordingly depending on your needs and expectations. So yeah, I think it's fun to see CreateOS not just being something where you can just come and vibe code your, of course it is vibe code your solution, but it's actual real utility to prevent and tackle real problems out there. So Alex, how do you feel about marketing this as a first use case for this kind of product, right? Because it was a first for me.
Yeah, it is. It is exciting. I also feel the responsibility of doing justice to what I think it's a major step forward for any type of application that has been vibe coded. For many, hearing vibe coding is still, with a little bit of snobbery, seen as a second class citizens in the development world, right? There are serious applications, enterprise applications, and then vibe coding, right? That's for your, side project or something that you can do as an MVP. But for sure, it's not going to scale. And, absolutely, experimental is not going to drive a lot of impact. But we are proving everybody's wrong, because right off the gate, you see that with CreateOS, you're able to create products that are immediately useful for new people that otherwise would have not been able to vibe code or create any type of application that are genuinely impactful for them. And it's always pockets of people that might have been overlooked by the big AI wave. And that is one of the core missions that we have set out ourselves to fulfill. We would like really to democratize access to technological means so that impact can come out of artificial intelligence. And in this case specifically, is the transformation of raw data, a lot of raw data that can be very useful, but because it's still locked, cannot be transforming itself into operational intelligence, into human intelligence that can inform better relationship, better livelihood for people, a lot of more safety. So that is the big unlock. When we're looking at artificial intelligence, it's really about taking a lot of data that is not helpful. It's just sitting there unused, unscrutinized, under-leveraged. And with the platform that has been built with CreateOS, and it's in the end, it's actually a very pretty simple, boring application. But think if this is the impact from a boring application, what the exciting category of applications that they will come will actually be able to bring forward. So yeah, as a marketer, I find this weight of responsibility because I think that we are carrying the torch forward to bring AI to completely new, net new populations. And that is something that will improve lives. And I really want to make justice and make sure that as many people as possible understand the impact, the positive impact of what we're doing. So, yeah, tough, feel the responsibility, but absolutely delighted that we are on the driving seat in this case.
Absolutely, and it's a powerful message, the one you just shared. And I think there's also another silver lining, which is that um, there isn't in I think when it comes to AI, there's almost like a built-in expectation that you should know what's going on, and what what are the latest models, or the latest tools that you can use for video creation or image creation or for formatting your text or whatever. But I think this use case is a breath of fresh air because it sends the message across that, for example, for the folks working at these factories, they didn't necessarily they could care less about what AI can do, or what I mean, the latest model. It was more about, okay, you're coming to me with a solution that could somehow prevent damage, physical damage done to my daily work. Okay, make it so that it's understandable for me to access this information in a user friendly and accessible manner. And that's exactly what was facilitated as a result of this I wouldn't say intervention, but this use case, right? So that to me is how technology should be. Like, what I mean, it should be molded according to the needs of the user, and then it's at the user discretion to understand what to do with the product. And of course, this is a real life application, so there is an element of communication to be had with these teams and understand what are their needs. But all the complexities of compute management or workload management was abstracted away, because of course it shouldn't be their prerogative. That's work that NodeOps takes on, and the platform does and takes care of it in the background. So that needs to be reminded, I think, and said, and it will become ever more clear as we'll do more of these pilots. And maybe, Sheena, something I wanted to ask you is that via feedback that you heard from the team on the ground, right? What was the general take from these folks working at these factories? Did they like the product immediately? Was there an element of onboarding at the beginning? How was that?
Honestly saying, we just had to give them very simple calls to explain them, because sometimes what happens is when you're proposing something, they feel, oh, is that possible? So you're still in that awe, that is that possible? And in the meanwhile, we were able to take over the old CCTV camera hardware and just convert them to very exciting something which they can just go beyond. So this is not just a transformation in terms of the digital surveillance that happens at these factories, but it's also like an aid in the business efficiencies. Like, taking a very small example, like safety in India, like I think this is like everybody knows globally, safety of women, child, even men to a certain extent is like has always been a concern. And besides that, the whole, like India being like a huge exporter of cotton textile across the globe, it also brings a layer of transparency, right? So someone sitting in, suppose as a factory owner, I want to show the entire process back end to my procurement center or to my potential people who I'm supplying or exporting the cotton. You could just very very seamlessly just share that data, right? So what's going behind, so you have a complete transparency that is also added over here. So for me, it was not just giving them an infra that they can just use it only for mere looking at the data or looking at digital surveillance at the simple on a phone device. It's much beyond that. So you're able to ensure that, of course, there is compliance to the guidelines which is issued, like I mentioned earlier. Besides that, there is more safety that you're trying to show at your factory setup, right? So you have, like, even if the factory owner himself or herself is not there on the floor, but then there is a sense of security for every person working in that factory. Also, you never know when there could be a mishap or a mishap happening because of some particular machinery which is probably going into a more defunct situation or something. So the moment that happens, there's an alert that comes. So we are able to avoid a lot more things by having this kind of infra provision. And of course, like Alex said, a very boring thing of a CCTV has been, very efficiently, seamlessly, beautifully carved into, which has more meaning, right? So it's not just data sitting somewhere. When there is an issue, you try to find out, oh, what happened? Let's go and start looking at the videos that typically we see it in movies. It's not that case anymore. So it's like a digital transformation to a very simple grassroots level factory floors. And this is just one sector where we started off. If you look at it, practically this can be implied anywhere.
Right.
It could be anywhere. It can actually fit in very beautifully. And the moment this has been, able to get a recognition, I think this will just become a part and parcel. So
100%.
yes,
Yeah,
so
go
it was
on.
very easy actually to talk. We did have Sagar from our team who has spent like endless calls because there are these very local regional factories. Most of them cannot even speak anything beyond their native local state language. So, like in India, we have every state. The moment you change a border, the culture, language changes. So there are those people who can't even speak Hindi, which is our national language, but we able to converse with them, able to explain them and ship them what they require and then just show the magic. It was a completely incredible feeling as well, because typically we have been talking to a very different set of folks, right? Like obviously when we were doing NAS as a service, the kind of clientele that we manage, the kind of B2B connections that we had, they were very different. And here actually going back to the roots, going back to factory floors, and actually it also gave us a sense of like economic contribution to our own massive native sector, which is the textile industry in India.
Yes, for sure. And from a global perspective, you see India becoming more and more of a powerhouse. And you do see that there are still some gaps between what could be an international acceptance for products. Like you see the latest deal with the EU, the freight tree deal that is going to come into effect in just I think it's shortly, if not it's already been signed as a free trade agreement. There are requirements from a regulatory standpoint, from a monitoring, from a provenance standpoint, and I think as India especially is gearing up to really explode in, globally as economic powerhouse, having this new access to specific tools built with AI will accelerate, I believe, the growth. And as India, there are just so many countries that are waiting for that access to new infrastructure, new mobilization of digital infrastructure for them to be able to do that. And I love that CreateOS in particular is agnostic to geography and to languages. Yeah, more and more you will find this, and that's a little, Easter egg here. Just keep your eyes peeled for the next week or so because we have something ready for you, and see how people from literally different languages are able to use and build CreateOS to create applications for their own communities. And I don't see this stopping. I see this actually accelerating. Maybe there is even a little call to action if anyone listening this, as a message in a bottle, whether you're here, live, or you're seeing this, as a recorded video. I don't know when in my future, but in your present, do reach out and prove us right. Take CreateOS in whatever is your native language. If we do not support your native language yet, let us know and we will do whatever we can to make sure that the platform is as inclusive as possible and as widespread as possible to people who otherwise would have not been catered for by AI tooling.
Indeed. It's I mean, I think with CreateOS, you can just sign in, you sign up, you have an initial amount of free credits to get started, and of course be judicious in a way. So if you have a clear, I think it's easy to just go crazy and just go with the flow and have a bunch of ideas there, which is also one approach. But if you have like a clear view, right, of something that you'd like to bring to life, always use another LLM to help structure your prompt, right? Because I think it all comes down to AIs are black boxes, so you don't really know how, like there isn't one way to interact with them, right? It's all about being effective and understanding what is the best structure to chat with them. So CreateOS is the same way, right? So one, like an effective prompt can make the difference between you having your project shown in a way compared to another, and yeah, I think it all comes down to iteration, right, and reps. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think Alex, you wanted to add something?
Just a quick note because I'm spitballing here, but we've seen that we're starting to observe from our user base that, of course, they are kind of used to the flow of creating an app and getting to the point of having like a preview and it's on staging and they kind of see. We've seen a lot of surprise from our use base on the deployment bit, which is the next part that they're used to feel the pain of and having to go outside and stitching up and doing so many tools and so many steps in between. When we go and explain, like, gotcha, we've got you. You really have now. You just need to click a couple of buttons and then you're good to go. Like I saw your video, Eric, on explaining the deploy flow attached to the create flow. More and more tutorial are going to come out, but sometimes I do wonder, do you really need the tutorial as well? Because it is so self-explanatory. So trust also the platform because it can guide you step by step. I don't know how you find it. Sheena, I know you have been on fire creating applications
She has.
right, left, and center as well. To me, like the deploy flow is the real surprise for the users. Like that's when the penny drops. Okay, because sure, like I can create vibe code my way up to that point, but then it's like, oh, CreateOS, you can do everything in one flow. It's amazing. Sheena, what
Indeed.
do you think? Yeah, or Eric, I don't know. Like if you have vibe coded
Yeah,
with
Sheena,
CreateOS, you would
go
know.
on.
No, I just remember like even the days when somebody would share me a GitHub link, and I'm like, why? I don't even need to look at it. This is not my domain. And now having my own GitHub account that says Sheena ships. I mean, I don't need to say anything more than that, right? Like for me, even like sometimes, like when we were filling up the ecosystem app forms, they would, share a GitHub and I would just close it and just DM somebody, guys, this is not my cup of tea. Please just take care of it. And now I feel, oh my God, this is so simple to do. And I like I think somebody the other day asked me, you have a repository? I said, yes, yes, I do. I have been
Yeah,
shipping, deploying
yeah.
it.
For the audience out there, just know that it's not rare at all that Sheena will just come in the morning, open up our common chat and say, guys, I've got a new app. Or I created a new game. Like, go use it. Like that. I don't know if that's your evening pastime, Sheena. I think probably it's like a family gathering around CreateOS, like around the fire and
Well,
go and
you
create.
say that Mridul was at my place a few days back, and he saw that me and both my kids in the same living room, three of us sitting trying to vibe code, and we are making Mridul run around the room. And he's like, "It's a strange family feeling. Three of you sitting with three devices and trying to build something." He's like, "Wow." I'm like, "Yeah, this is just the beginning." And mind you, the boys in the house aren't that big.
Yeah, that's amazing. Eric, have you seen what's the youngest user that you've seen on the platform vibe coding?
No, I think no one
Other than
beats.
Sheena's kids.
Yeah, nobody beats Sheena's kids for sure, undoubtedly. And no, I think like you both mentioned something correct that for non-tech people, GitHub is like the key, the buzzword that sort of marks the border between developers and non-developers, because it's like, oh, okay, like if you tell me GitHub, I need to look at repos, stars, code, and stuff like that, and it's just not my cup of tea. But it actually isn't the case, because all you need to do is essentially it's like signing up to any other platform. Whether it could be like an email provider or like a social network, like any tool. All you have to do is sign up, and then I went through the process yesterday, the one that I showed in the tutorial, that you just need to accept the permission once, and then every other deployment that you'll do subsequently. So from the first time on, from the second time onwards, you don't even have to go through a request on GitHub. That's completely abstracted away. So it's not a headache, if anything, right? I think it's just like one time awareness that there is GitHub in the process, because of course it's part of the deployment. But I think we'll triple down on essentially showing what's possible, both from the team, because we are essentially leading this by example, because we like the product, and at least myself, like right now I've been super busy with other stuff, but I'll make it so that it'll be a priority for me on a weekly basis to build new stuff and just go and deploy it. So we ask the same of you, and if you have any questions, I think there was one that asked for the native language to be supported. I asked on the Twitch channel, what is your native language? Let us know, and we'll try and accommodate accordingly. Before we close things off, there was also a I think this is deserves to be shown for the team because it's from Frank, and there's no more capable builder than Frank. So I think this is, um, I don't know, round of applause for the backend team and the product team because yeah, I think it's well overdue and well deserved. And there was a question just in general. I don't know if you want to take it, which is whether we're gonna make it available for mobile. I think a lot of people have been asking this.
Yeah. So the short answer is yes, but it's going to be a while. So bear with us because first we want to nail it. And you will probably, intuitively understand that coding on mobile, it's a different ball game. Deploying any type of cloud, though we have done it before, if you remember, you are able to use,
With
compute
GPT.
capacity, yes, using it on your mobile that way. So it's always on our mind, and definitely, directionally, we want to make it as easy as being in your pocket with you as you're killing time instead of doing some doom scrolling. Just better go and build an applications because you can. Why not? But as of now, bear with us. Realistically, the team is flat out to perfect what we have. We want to make sure that the product is as helpful as possible, as solid as possible. We are really welcoming a large number of new users every day. So, we want to make sure that the performance, the security, the scalability for everybody who's using the platform is consistent. So bear with us. Give us a little bit of time to breathe. Is 1 week, but yes, the eyes are already on the prize, but we cannot commit to a timeline for now. But I
Maybe
love that
something
you
that,
already. Everybody's like, yes, now
of
you've done it
course.
so simple. Now do it
But
on mobile.
that's the problem when you have such a team that just delivers and stuff. The expectation is just to always have, you know what I mean, as it should be, right? To have a high bar to always improve the experience. One last thing I would say in the meanwhile, while CreateOS is caters best to web app essentially to desktop, is maybe if you have an idea when you're around, whether you're on a walk or with loved ones, wherever you are, or even training, because that happens to me, and you have an idea, just go on your LLM of choice, whether that's Gemini, Perplexity, or Chat GPT, and refine your prompt so that when you then get back home and you're ready to utilize your desktop, you're essentially making the most of the credits that you have at your disposal, right? So the mobile is not going anywhere, right? So you can just, as I mentioned, just refine your prompt as well as possible so that then your build is as refined and polished as possible as well, because that's what it boils down to. And I've got nothing else to add, guys. I think you will do all the content that will be coming out soon. So keep an eye out on our channels. We'll do the talking. Sheena, Alex, it's been a pleasure as always. And then if you have any closing remarks, now's the time for you.
Just a big thank you to everybody and keep your eyes peeled. More to come.
I would just like to leave. There are a lot of, proud to say, we've been covered by a couple of publications. Read that. You have questions. Don't worry. There is a documentary coming along. So while you read, you can actually go and, have a real time feeling about what has actually happened behind the scenes. And before I close, I really want to share that we have already captured more than 50,000 hours of data on CreateOS through our use case of the CCTV. So, just leaving this on a personal note, because whoever's listening to this live streaming or gonna watch it later, you should be able to link the dots at what has happened, and it's actually a proud moment, not just for the NodeOps team, for everyone who believes in NodeOps and has been like a constant supporter. CreateOS is there, the action layer, the application layer. That is where the real execution and whole magic is happening.
Absolutely, absolutely, and the numbers will be clearly laid out and explained both in the content. Let's just see that. So you know, I won't give you all the details, so you have to keep an eye out. And yeah, as always, thank you very much. And one last detail that we can share with the community is that you can expect to see a lot more of us from next week onwards. We'll have almost daily streams that we'll commit to. Of course, the team has a variety of skills and profiles, so maybe from us three, you can expect more of a high level macro view of what's happening and marketing and BD standpoint, and then maybe for more technical product level integrations, the lovely Juliana, who has been doing so well with leading the charge on her own, because of course I think that's also to be recognized that it's not as easy to be hosting on your own. You can expect her sessions to occur as well on a weekly basis going forward. So you'll be seeing a lot more of us. And if you have any requests, do message us across all channels. We'd be more than happy to work it out if it makes sense. So until next time, have a great day and a great weekend from next week, from tomorrow onwards.
All right. Thank you.